Hey everybody, it's Frozen with Outdoor Adventures, and thanks for joining me. Today the topic is, what gear do you bring on a day hike? This is going to vary for everyone, but this question comes up quite a bit on the channel, so I thought I'd address it at least today. So first up, let's talk about clothing. Now keep in mind, clothing is very weather dependent, obviously. Today, it's hot, it's humid out here. I'm just in my Ultralone Peaks, darn tough socks, my gaiters. I got a pair of shorts with a liner on, and then my blue Champion shirt and my buff. I love the buff just because it's so versatile. If it ends up getting cold throughout the day, or if I'm doing a longer hike and it's gonna be evening and getting dark out, I can turn it and actually make it into a beanie and actually have it provide a little bit of warmth for me. So that's just why I bring the buff. It also keeps the sun and the bugs off my head. So let's start with these trekking poles. Yes, even on day hikes, I bring trekking poles. I just feel that these are so invaluable, so versatile. They help speed you along, and really, I would never not bring these things. They just make hiking so much easier. So now that that's out of the way, let's dive into the pack. Now, first of all, the pack that I'm using on day hikes these days is the Z-Pack's Nero. Now, I'll be honest, this is a bit overkill in volume as far as being useful for a day pack, but I have it already for my backpacking trips, which I can fit probably 4 or 5 days in this thing, no issues. If you'd like to look into a smaller pack, perhaps, check out Pacific Northwest Sea to Sky Pack. If I was going to have to buy a day pack, that's probably the pack I'd go for. If you're looking for something a little beefier, then check out the Osprey line. I absolutely love their products. Anyway, let's take care of the front mesh pocket and then we'll dive in the interior. So a rain jacket or wind jacket. I prefer just to use my Outdoor Research Helium 2 rain jacket. If I get caught in a storm, this is here. If I need to, heaven forbid I get stuck outside or something, I can combine this with some insulation and, sleep on the ground with this. So this is always on a day hike with me. It's non-negotiable unless I'm positive that I know the area and I'm going to be out for a very short amount of time, then I'll just opt not to bring this. I still use my Sawyer Squeeze when I'm out there with a little cup to scoop water and put it into my 2-liter Evernew bag. Again, this is a bit overkill for a day hike system, but it's just what I'm used to and I already have it. Sometimes I opt for bug spray. Usually I don't. The bug spray that I do recommend is this Picardin stuff by Sawyer. Unlike DEET, if it gets onto your synthetic clothing, it won't eat a hole in your gear, which that's what I like. I rarely bring this, but I do have it today. All right, that clears out the mesh pocket. Let's talk about water storage. For water storage, I either bring 2 1-liter smart water bottles, or I just bring the 23.7, the little bottles with the sports caps. These are perfectly fine for a day hike. If it's a long day hike between 15, 20, maybe even more miles, I'll opt for the bigger 1-liter smart water bottles. Now on the inside of the pack, I will have my toiletry kit. In here, I'll have my trowel for digging a cat hole. I'll have some wet ones just to clean myself up throughout the day. Then I'll have some toilet paper. Now I have way too much toilet paper for a day hike right now. This is just the kit that I always bring for my backpacking trips, so it was already in there. Next up, obviously I'll have some food. Today was gonna be a pretty long day hike, so I have some dinner, I have some wraps, I have my titanium spoon in here, and I have a pasta Northsides. And this is what I'll eat for dinner and lunch today. So there's that. Now, on top of that food, I do have some snacks today that I just have in my hip belt pocket. We have a protein bar, some Skittles, Sour Patch Kids, which are my favorite little candies to bring. And then I have some trail mix that I made. This is just some almonds, peanuts, and raisins, which I love all 3 of those. They're absolutely delicious. On the other side, I will have my map of the park. I also will keep a small mini Bic lighter, and surprisingly enough, I always bring my headlamp on a day hike. You never know, you could get trapped out there, you could get lost. This would be invaluable for night hiking if you had to do it. First aid kit. I will never ever hike without my first aid kit. And I have a video on what I exactly bring in here. Check out my 2016 ultralight gear list, but we're not going to get into that today. Now, on this trip, I will be cooking. If it's a lower mileage trip, lower mileage day hike, I normally would just snack until I'm finished with the hike. Today, I'm actually having lunch and dinner out on the trail, so I will bring my full cook kit, which is canister, 700 milliliter Tokes pot, and my BRS titanium canister stove. And I'll also have the Reflectix just because I love having the Reflectix on as a pot cozy. Now, a surprising item that I do have even on this trip is my down jacket. This is another non-negotiable item like the Helium 2 rain jacket. Just in case, you never know. Actually, a lot more people get lost on day hikes than they do on backpacking trips. Day hikes are usually more spontaneous kind of things, not a lot of planning involved. You don't really know where exactly you're going. But this, like I said, if I get stuck out later than I thought, I'll have the headlamp, I'll have the down jacket, and I'll have the rain jacket. At least I can make it through the night if it starts dipping to colder temperatures. A couple final little items that I have. Some Mio. This is Mio Energy. It just contains some electrolytes for me throughout the day. You're sweating, especially in this hot, humid weather. I'll be sweating, and this will help replenish that salt content. I will have some A&D ointment to avoid any kind of chafing. I also use Body Glide, which is also in my first aid kit. I'll have my headphones so I can listen to music or whatever I want to do with this throughout the day. And I'll also have my smartphone with me. Now, sometimes I put the map of where I'm going to be in PDF format on here, or I'll download the GPS data to help me and I'll forego the paper map. But for a time like today, I'll just have the paper map and my cell phone ready to go with some music. If I ever do get caught in a storm, I always bring a Ziploc freezer quart-sized bag, just extra. If I don't end up using it, I can put my garbage in here, or I can throw my cell phone in here if it ends up raining. So that's just an item that I always just keep in the pack, just in case I forget it. The last item I have is a Leatherman squirt. Now this has some pliers on it, it has a knife, it has a can opener, a whole bunch of things. Basically, it's just kind of like a Swiss Army knife with a really heavy-duty set of pliers. And I use these for ticks. It works out great. I've also had to bend some tent stakes with this. So this is the same thing that comes on my backpacking trips, but I also take it on day hikes. Another item that I bring that you probably couldn't even see is my sit pad. Now this one was $1 on AliExpress, free shipping from China. Took a while to get, but eventually got here. These are invaluable. Just bring these. They weigh like an ounce and they're so comfortable. It's just so nice to have something to sit on, especially if the ground's wet. That's about it. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to let me know. Check out the comments section below. And as always, find time and go on your own adventure. I'll see you on the trail.